Hi, my name is Penny Martin, and welcome back to my channel, Hope Lives. Today I was driving down the road and came across a person on the street holding one of those signs. As I know most of us do, we drive by people holding these signs saying, need money, homeless, have a family to provide for. But when we really see those people, what thoughts run through our mind? Is this person just lazy? They just don't want to get a job? They're trying to find the easy way out? What brought them to this point? It's so easy for us to judge in life. It seems like the quickest thing to do is just automatically think and know that we know what that person's life is all about. That they've made this choice. Why should I give them money? Go get a job. But you know, in this day and world, what does homelessness really look like? Do we really know? Do we know the journey and the life these people have traveled? Have we walked in their footsteps? Do we know what they've faced? Do we know their circumstances? And though we may not always feel it in our heart to give or to help, is it really our right to judge? To judge them for who they are or what they're doing? To assume that we know that they're homeless just because they've given up on life? Maybe so. There could be so many different reasons why people are where they are in life. But I ask you this. What does homelessness really look like? Is it the person dressed in the scruffy clothes, carrying a backpack, holes in their shoes, holding a sign? Not always. You'd be shocked and surprised sometimes at what that really looks like. You see, because I'm that person. I am a single mom of 4 kids, and I'm homeless right now. How did I get here? Do I fit what it looks like? Should I look scruffy? Should I look grungy? It doesn't always look that way, and it doesn't always appear that way. You see, in January of 2009 began a series of events in my life that I don't think anyone can quite be prepared for. Sometimes life takes us far, far beyond what we imagined. In January of 2009, I found out I was pregnant. I was already a single mom. I lost my job. The father left, nowhere to be found. What was I gonna do? How was I gonna provide? How was I gonna tell people that I'm pregnant? I felt ashamed. I felt alone. And I felt confused. You see, I was brought up in a good family, an upper-class family. My father was involved in politics and very well known in the community, and still is. My mother had a long-time career at the university near us, very well known for her work and her dedication. So how was I going to do this? I was so ashamed, and I felt so alone. How was I going to tell my kids? It was a hard point in my life. I always had a great career. I worked my way up from the bottom, was very, very successful in sales and marketing. Was making an income of over $80,000 a year. Had it all, the nice clothes, the nice car, nice things. I shopped and shopped and shopped. But I never really truly appreciated all that I had. So I remember the day that I sat my children down and I told them that I was pregnant. Probably one of the hardest days of my life. But I had to be real with them. And I sat them down and I said, you know, I've made some really bad decisions in my life. I haven't been living it right. And I'm so sorry. And I told them I was pregnant. But I told them at this point in my life, I had to make a choice to turn it around, to accept responsibility and to do the right thing. And the right thing for me was to have this child. I didn't know how I was going to provide. I was barely living on the savings I had, struggling each and every month to make ends meet. And when I finally told my family, the shame fell. It was hard. So many people tried to talk me out of having this child. Said it would only make my life harder. I knew that. I knew it wasn't gonna be easy. I knew I had a long road ahead of me. But I knew not having this child wasn't the answer. It wasn't what I could live with. And it really made me realize in life, sometimes when we make choices and decisions, do we make those choices to please the world? To please others? To look good? To look like we have it all together? But yet inside, the pain cuts so deep because what we know is that the choices that we made to please others killed us inside. We're the ones that have to live with the pain, not them. And so when I made this choice to have this child, I knew it was the right choice. I knew it was the choice that I myself could live with. And so I did it. And it was a long, lonely pregnancy. You see, a lot of people didn't want to be around me. They were kind of ashamed to see me walking around pregnant. And it was hard for me. I had to forgive myself over and over and lay it at the cross each and every day. That I wasn't going to carry the shame with me. Because I knew that when I stood before God, I made the right choice. No matter how hard it was to face the world and the judgment that would come, I was going to do it. And I did. And I remember the day I went into labor. My son had a trip for school the next day, and I did everything that night to get through it. Got him off to school, and I drove myself to the hospital by myself. And you see, I was alone in that room. And I gave birth to that baby. So beautiful she is. All by myself. But I had a peace within me that knew that I made the right choice. This was the choice that I could live with, not what others could live with, not what made them feel good. I had to walk the road, not them. So it was kind of funny that the day I drove myself home from the hospital, they're like, isn't there anyone to come and get you? And I'm like, no, it's just me. So I got the car seat ready and I got the baby in and I went home. And I love this child more than anything. Then within a couple months, my son came home from school. He was 12 at the time. And he just got home from wrestling practice and he's laying on the couch and he's like, Mom, I just don't feel good. I think I just need to rest. And so I said, you know, here's some Gatorade, drink, and maybe you're just dehydrated. Maybe it was just a long practice. But go ahead and rest. And I went back to the couch about 15 minutes later and he was asleep, sound asleep. But I looked at him and in his neck I could see it just pulsating really fast. And I was like, wow, something's not right. And so I went over to him and I just put my hand gently on his neck and I started to count the beats. But the beats were too fast. I couldn't count them. And I was afraid. I got on the phone to the doctor and I said, something's wrong. My son's heart is beating so fast I can't count it. It's over 200. So I got him in the car and drove him to the hospital and came to realize he had suffered a major heart attack at 12. And the doctors came back with no answers. We don't know what's wrong. We don't know what happened to your son. We don't know what's caused this. And so they transported him to the hospital within the next town that had a pediatric ward. And he stayed in the hospital a couple days. But the levels in his blood kept rising, showing that there was some sort of damage to the heart. And I was so afraid. Here I was sitting in this hospital room with my son, who just suffered a major heart attack, with a 2-month-old baby, by myself. The next morning they came in and they just said, we need to transport him down to Children's Hospital. So we went to Denver. We spent a week at Children's Hospital. The doctors were stunned. They couldn't figure it out. They didn't understand. The tests showed no damage to his heart. They had no answers for us. So we left. What's a mother to do? I had to be so strong. And I had to trust God fully and completely. It was out of my control. So we were at home. A couple months later went by and all of us in the house we've all been getting sick. We'd been to the doctors many times. My daughter was in the doctors with fevers and stomach aches and sore throats, and we were all facing some just really strange medical health issues. Then one morning I woke up and my daughter, she was only maybe a year, not even quite a year at the time, started having convulsions and shaking really bad. And I took her to the hospital and I'm just like, what is wrong? What is wrong with my baby? Here I was down another road, lots of tests, no answers. So after a couple days we went home. Back to our lives. 2 days later, I woke up and went into the kitchen to make breakfast. And I uncovered our birds with two cute little parakeets. And I saw them laying on the floor of the cage dead. What is going on? I called the fire department. The fire department came, and there was no gas leak. There was no carbon monoxide. They had no answers why these birds were dead. So they left. Again, no answers. No reasons, no explanations. I didn't understand. Then later that day, I was just really having a hard time. My thinking wasn't straight. I felt anxious. And this just small inner voice came to me. Get out, it said. Get out. I didn't know what this meant. I didn't understand it. What was it? Get out. Get out. So without even thinking twice, I grabbed my kids, I grabbed the baby. They're like, Mom, what are we doing? Come on, we gotta go. We have to get out of this house. So I got him in the car and we drove to my parents. And I just knew. I knew something was wrong. You know that inner voice you get sometimes? I know I've had that voice a lot in my life. So many times I've ignored it. Or just thought, I knew better. I knew better than this voice. I knew what was right for my life. But this time I listened. I knew something was in the house, making us sick. And after phone call after phone call, I finally got the EPA down, who ran testing throughout our place. It took a lot of determination. When everybody said I was wrong and I was crazy, that it was nothing, I knew it was. And I'm glad I followed that. The answers came. And it was a meth house. Our neighbors had been running a meth lab. And if it wouldn't have been for those dead birds and me listening to that voice within me, I probably wouldn't be sitting here today, nor my children. The answers came, the reason for the heart attack, the reason for the convulsions. Everything we owned in that house went straight to the dump. I'd already lost everything. Didn't have a job. Now I had nothing left. So we stayed at my parents' house for a few months. Those were some tough times. All of us faced some severe withdrawal symptoms. We were so sick. Kids couldn't focus. We had anxiety, withdrawals. It was horrible. It seemed so unfair. But we got through it. We were strong, I was faithful, and I was determined. So a couple months later, after we were better, we found a new home. And we moved into that house, happy, finally, a home, a place to be, a place that's safe. How I wanted that so much. A month or two went by, and we all started to get sick again. I had headaches every day. What is going on? I thought. What is it? And as I began to kind of look around the house, I began to find signs of water damage. Can you believe this? The house was full of mold. Why was this happening? I didn't get it. One thing after another. So we moved out, moved into another home. Here again. It was good after a few months. But then my little one started throwing up. I started having headaches. My kids were nauseous. I thought, my gosh, am I going crazy? But then again, this little voice, again, get out, Penny, get out. And I thought to myself, are you kidding me? Am I going crazy? Are you serious? One day I came home and the house just smelled so bad, like chemicals. Called the fire department. They came out. Found out the ventilation system in the whole house wasn't working. And you know what, before we moved in, the whole house was covered with kills. There was brand new paint, brand new carpet. Nothing was ventilating from the home. It was just circulating, making us all sick. So I grabbed the kids once again. We headed to the hotel across the street. And I just sat there in despair. What am I gonna do? Where are we gonna go? Like, are you kidding me? Is this happening? So I made some calls and found a friend who knew of a rental, and we moved into a really nice neighborhood, upper class, nice town home, over 2,000 square feet. I thought, how can I go wrong? How can I go wrong? It only took 6 months to discover the whole place had been flooded. The landlords covered it up, painted, new carpet, but the mold started growing. It was everywhere. The window wells were covered. We were sick again. How many times does it take? Why was I being put through this? Why was my family chosen for pain and suffering? I was trying to do right, but it seemed like everything was going wrong. So we left. Since October, we've been sleeping on air mattresses. We've been homeless. Luckily, we have family to stay with, and I thank God for that, because we would be on the street. Could be holding a sign. But I want you to know, and I want you to think, next time you see someone standing on the corner, or you see someone in line, with their food stamp card. Don't be so quick to judge. It only takes a moment in life for circumstances to change. It can happen to any of us. It happened to me. But you know what? In this time, God has clearly showed me. When it all comes down to it, when you've lost everything in life that you thought was so important, when you've lost the prestigious career, the beautiful home, the newest version of the Jetta, fine clothes, fine things, designer handbags. When you've lost all of that, and you've had to do nothing but rely on God's strength. He has provided for my family. Each and every month you could look at just the bills and the finances, and like nothing makes sense. Like, how have we made it every month these last 4 years? We made it because I made a choice to give it all to God. I'm not in control of my life, though no, I think I am. So many times we think we're so in control of our lives, that we control our career, we control our kids, we control what they do, we have it all. But in life, when you peel that all away, when you take it all and it's all gone, what's at the core of your life? I know I have figured out the core of my life is my faith. The core of my life is knowing who I am and being strong in what I believe, being determined to make it in this world, doing what I can to help others, doing what I can, no matter how little I have, to be that bright, shining light for others, to give hope, whether that's through a smile, an encouraging word, telling someone they can do it, that you care, listening to others, having time to hear their stories and the pain or the trials they've faced and what they've been through. Not judging them for where they're at or how they look or appear to you, but looking at their heart. That is the true core of a person, is what is inside of them, what their life is built on. Life is not built on what we have. That doesn't bring happiness. It may bring temporary happiness. So look at your life. You may be in a good spot right now, and that's okay. You may have lost it all. You may be at a crossroad, a loss of a job, a loss of a loved one. You may be at a hard point in your life. But look deep within yourself. What does your heart look like? Believe in who you are. Believe in what's inside of you. And you can do this. Yes. I may not be the face of what a homeless person looks like. But what does that really look like? Appreciate what you have. Appreciate your days and your times in this world. Appreciate your good health. Appreciate your children. And know that no matter what you face, you can come through it. I'm determined. And I may not be there yet, but I will get there. Because when we don't give up on ourselves, when we look within, we love from within, and we do what we can in this world to make it a better place. Make it a better place for others. Take time to get to know people, your neighbors, your friends, your coworkers. Do what you can to help. Listen to that inner voice that speaks to you. Hear what it has to say, because it wants to take you on a journey of a life that you deserve. Build your heart. Believe within yourself that you are loved, you matter, you are worth something, no matter where you are in life. That you can and will come out of this. You see, the battle is in our mind. What you believe you can achieve, what you think you will become, so you can be a victim of your circumstances, or you can be a victor. What do you choose? I choose to be a victor. Because the victory is already won. It's already within us. Just grab hold of it. Believe in yourself. You can achieve great things. We all have a destiny and a purpose in life. Find that passion, find that love in what you want to do in this world and go for it. Don't give up. Your past does not define who you are. The world does not define who you are. You, my friend, define who you are. So who do you want to become? Because what that person is, that's a successful person. Be determined that you can do this. I believe in you. Let's join hands together. Walk this journey of life and not give up. Because no matter what circumstances we face, we are destined for great things.